Over the past 3 years, I've spent literally thousands of hours both chatting on OnlyFans myself and managing a team of over 25 chatters. Most of that time was spent selling content to people who didn't necessarily make it easy. In this video, I'm just going to run you through all the strategies that my team and I use to turn a no into a yes. So just to start, let's go over some objection handling basics in the context of OnlyFans. I'm personally not a big fan of guilt tripping. That may come as a surprise to you. You may do it. You may have chatters who do it. The reason I'm not a fan is most chatters have the emotional intelligence of a pencil sharpener. So they're probably just going to annoy a lot of people. If you're telling them every time someone doesn't buy, I want you to just make them feel bad about it. That's no way to get people coming back. If you went to a car dealer and you went, oh, I'm not really sure if this one's for me. And they just went, oh, but I made this just for you. Don't you think I'm worth it? You're just going to get annoyed. The difficult thing about chatting on OnlyFans is that you need to match the sub's energy when you're negotiating. Deals will die in the details. If you get into the nitty-gritty of this video is worth $34.99 and now I'm selling it to you for $27.99, they're going to be horny, they're going to be turned on and whatever they should be to buy stuff. If you start getting into all those details and go on this tangent, it's going to kill the mood and they're just not going to want to buy anymore. When subs object, like in all sales, objections have different meanings. There's a difference between that's too expensive and I can't afford it, or I'll get it later, right? I'm going to go over that in a bit more detail later. One more thing, there are no silver bullets. There's not one line, one thing you can do that's going to handle every single objection, right? All I can do is give you a process of things you can do each time to make it more likely that you turn that no into a yes. So for the first objection, this is a really common one. When the subscriber wants something else, you've tried to sell them content or you're about to sell them content, and then all of a sudden they have a completely different request. They want something else. This becomes a big problem, especially when you're selling, say, a sexting sequence, so a series of photos and videos taken as if they're happening live and you sell them and they get more expensive, whatever. If people start demanding what you do, it's not going to work because the content's pre-recorded. So we don't want to just fold and give them the power. Now there are two scenarios where this objection is going to present itself. Either you're leading up to a pay-per-view, the sub can kind of tell, so then they go, oh, well, can you send me a video of you doing this? Something specific, right? Or you've already sent the pay-per-view, they don't buy it, and then they say, can I get a video of you doing this, right? The first thing we want to do is ignore it, believe it or not. So if we've already sent it, set a timer for 3 minutes and just come back. You'd be so surprised how many times the sub will just buy it because it's in front of them, right? If you're leading up to the pay-per-view, then you need to just keep talking. You should be sexting, right? You should be talking about what the sub and creator would be doing if they were together. So the sub can visualize it in their head. So you should still be doing that. You should still be going on with your sexting. If you've got a script, whatever, keep it going like you didn't see what they said. But only do this once or you're going to seem like an idiot or a robot. So let's say that doesn't work. Next, we need to divert the fans' attention away from whatever request they've made, and we do that using our sexting. Sexting is the best way of selling content chatting on OnlyFans, period. I don't just mean saying any sexual thing that comes to mind, like most chatters do, where it's just gibberish. What I mean is using descriptive language, telling a story of what the sub and creator would be doing if they were together, so the sub can imagine it really clearly in their mind. That way, it's going to be really easy to just get them excited about whatever you want them to be excited about. So let's say, for example, you're selling a sexting sequence and the next video is the creator bent over like a pussy reveal kind of thing. And then the sub all of a sudden goes, oh, do you have any BJ videos or something like that? So it's completely unrelated. What I will tell the chatters to do is use a what if statement in their sexting that can get them excited about the content that you do have. So that could be something like, in this context, that could be something like, what if first I bent over right in front of you and we tried to see how long you could resist eating it for? Something like that. That's going to get them excited about that sort of thing. And then either you can use that to send the pay-per-view Or you can go and reply to the pay-per-view you've already sent and say, oh, well, let's see what you've got. Something like that. A lot of the time that will work because now there's a reason for them to unlock it. It's not just like you've sent this random video and you want them to unlock it. It's related to what you're talking about. Something important to consider with this is you always want to be distracting the fan with something that's more exciting for this to work. So in my example then, what I did was I gamified it. I was like, oh, could you resist it? It's like challenging them in a way. That's one way of making it more exciting. You can also use more detail and make them really vividly imagine what you're saying. There's multiple ways to do it. You can divert multiple times, and this is the skill that deals with this objection. If you get good at this, that's when you can just direct the conversation and it's going to work most of the time. You're in control. The last thing you can do for really stubborn fans, and not in every situation, is loop back. That's a different thing where we basically are saying, no, this content is what you want, right? And we're stretching the truth, but you can't lie. That's going to get you a chargeback. So this wouldn't work in that example I gave before. You just have to keep doing this. But let's say they wanted the creator to stand over the camera with their legs spread. It's a common request for some reason. You've got this bent over video. So you could send the pay-per-view with the caption of, I wanted you to see everything, so I went for the best angle I could. That way, when they unlock it, they're going to be like, oh, all right, so she's done this instead so that I could see everything. It's not what they asked for, but they kind of got what they wanted. Does that make sense? You can't do it in every situation. The last thing you can do is obviously just send them the content they want, but I would try this for a significant amount of time before you just go sending them whatever they ask for. It's better to be in control, you'll make more money. Let's move on to objection 2, which is a pretty common one as well. This is too expensive or I can't afford it. Now, you know how I said that different objections mean different things? Well, too expensive means they don't think it's worth it. What you've sent me is not worth this price. I could pay for it, I don't want to. I can't afford it means I literally don't have the money. So they're different, right? Now, I personally like to treat both of them like it's a value issue because think about it. If I said to you, you can have a Lamborghini for $10,000, I'll sell it to you, right? Even if you didn't have $10,000, if I gave you 72 hours, I guarantee you could somehow figure it out. So even if you can't afford it, if the deal is good enough, you can usually get them to pay for it, right? So it's still a value issue, but the way that we deal with it is different. The overarching idea with dealing with a value objection like this is we want to add more value before lowering cost. When we discount, we just make less money, right? By offering them more, we don't really lose out on anything, right? We're dealing with intangible stuff. Now, the first step in adding more value is to start with things that are really intangible, like a dick rating or a sexting session, things that don't exist. The chatter can just do that and not even send them anything else, right? Now, the next thing you can do, your first instinct would probably be, oh, well, I'll just send them 2 pieces of content for the price of 1. True, but you can make it more exciting by gamifying it. So like before when I did that little challenge thing, you can go, well, if you can watch this one without finishing, I'll send you the next one for free. Like, let's see if you can do it. That's way more exciting. They're way more likely to do that. If that doesn't work, that's when we can just add stuff to the pay-per-view. So 3 to 5 pics is ideal. Maybe the next video in the sequence, if it's a sexting sequence, whatever it may be, that's what you can do next. If it comes to the point where it's looking like you're going to have to discount, you don't want to train people to just complain about the price and then you discount it, right? You want to renegotiate what you're going to give them if you're going to lower your prices. So if you're going to sell them a 5-minute video for $80, you can go, well, okay, if you're not going to pay that, I'll give you a 3-minute video for $50. Okay, cool. That means that they understand you're firm on your prices, but they'll still pay something and they'll get something for their money. Now, like I said, these two can be treated differently. If they say too expensive, just copy what I've put here as I've put it, right? It works well for that. If they say they can't afford it, you can do this, but there's another option as well. If it's someone that you want to kind of get in their good books, you want to get them on your side because they've had money in the past or you believe they'll have money in the future or whatever, you can do a bit of an emotional play that works really well. So the first thing is you need to be really sympathetic with them saying they can't afford it. Like, you want to say, oh, I completely understand, you're sorry, I get carried away in this economy, the cost of living is so bad, I completely get it, whatever. Go through this process again, but realistically, it's probably going to get to the point where they want a discount, whatever. So you can actually discount from the original piece of content, but the trick so that they don't come to expect that is you have to make it seem like a really big deal. Say things like, oh, I'd never do this, I never discount, like, I'm in a good mood today, so I'd just get it before I change my mind. By making it seem like a big deal, they won't expect it next time, and they'll also feel like you've done them a really big favor. So that's how you end up in their good books. Okay, moving on to the next objection. If they suspect that the content is pre-recorded, that's a problem, right? Usually you'll be selling sexting sequences, which are meant to be the creator doing it live. So if they feel like it's not live, that's an issue. Usually people say this because they're aware of agencies. So, if people say this, you have to kind of tread very lightly with them. You want to make sure your chatters seem like the creator, right? You want to be like, don't make dumb spelling mistakes. Don't have grammatical issues or say dumb shit. Right? This is obviously not objection handling, but this will prevent this happening as much. Now, if you know a sub is really prone to asking for verification, if you get them to tip for sexting before you send the sequence, it's going to be a lot easier, right? Because you don't have to worry about them buying each one. You can kind of just get through it and they've already paid. Much easier. Obviously, it's not ideal to do this because pay-per-views make the most money, but it is something to consider. Now, this whole strategy I'm about to give you is literally about buying time. All you can do is buy yourself time to get the creator to send a verification voice note or something like that. That's just the truth. Or you can kind of distract them and make them forget about it. That is all you can do. If they really suspect it, you're fucked. Now, you never want to stop replying or get defensive because that is a surefire way to fuck it up forever, right? That's exactly what every chatter does. So don't do that. Really great handwriting on this one. So much like the they want something else objection, first we want to just ignore them once. So if they say, oh, can you put up a peace sign in the next video? Can you say my name? Or they just ask you, is the content pre-recorded? First, we want to just ignore them, see if they'll forget about it. You have to keep talking, you have to keep sexting, or if you've sent the pay-per-view, just wait and see if they'll open it. But, just don't directly address it, but only do it once, or it's going to look like you're hiding something. Now, instead of getting defensive, we can use humor so we seem relaxed and composed, right? Humor is so powerful in seeming like you have nothing to hide in this situation. So one line you could use is, oh, well, if I was going to pre-record this, then I would have put myself together a lot better than this, haha, like implying they don't look very good right now. Obviously, the sub's going to go, oh, well, you look great, what do you mean, right? We're buying time because we need to ask the creator for a voice note, but I'll get to that. Now, to buy even more time, if they start going, what they'll usually do is ask you to do something to prove that it's happening right now. So it could be like, do something weird with your fingers or, say something. And what you can do is something I call tell the verification story. Basically, that just means say, okay, well, if you want me to do something, tell me exactly what it is because last time this guy asked me to do a peace sign and then he said that I was doing it too far away and then he said that I needed to do 5-star jumps and you just want to go on and buy time for the creator to send a voice note. Like I said, all you can do at this point really is buy time or hope they move on. If you're funny and you seem relaxed enough, a lot of the time they'll go, oh, okay, whatever, right? I promise you it works. But after you've done that and it gets to the point where they're going, okay, so you're going to do it, you want the creator to send a conversational voice note. So they need to just read like the past 3 messages, and the creator just sends a voice note continuing on the conversation that's already happening. What a lot of agencies will ask the creator to do is say, oh, can you just say, it's me, Tom, or it's me, Jack. Like, it's so obvious what you've done. But if they just randomly send a voice note, continuing the conversation, it's going to seem really real. It also means that they're less likely to want you to do something in the pay-per-view video, which obviously you can't change, right? So if you can convince them without that, that's the best way. I thought I'd throw in a section about closing big sales. It's a bit of a different ballgame when it comes to customs, video calls, GFE, things like that are more expensive. Now, you can talk like a bit more of a normal person when negotiating these because it's slightly more transactional. But generally, you want to anchor the price somewhere around what you want them to pay. I'd advise on the higher end, right? That means that if they're still in the conversation, you can probably work with it. You know, some of the time they'll be like, okay, well, that's nowhere near what I was expecting to pay. They wanted to pay like $2.50, so that's not going to happen. But we want to do the same thing with the other objection handles. We want to offer value before lowering cost. It does not benefit us to discount. It's better if we can just get more money. That's what we're doing, right? So we can offer ratings, tick ratings, sexting session, speed of delivery, if the creator will do it. You know, I'll get it to you by tomorrow rather than in 3 days. Extra content, you give them an extra video, extra pictures, whatever it is. If you get to the point where they're really negotiating and they want to pay less, the trick is negotiate in smaller chunks. So what a lot of chatters might do is the person will go, oh, 500 is too much for me. So they'll go, oh, well, what about 300? Well, you've shown that you'll knock off 200 like that. So who's to say you won't take off another 50? But if you go, oh, well, I'd do 470, now we're not playing that game. Even if they go, well, 450, there you go. You haven't given away half of the value, right? So the size of which you'll lower the price by will determine how the negotiation goes. You don't want to over negotiate because it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. They don't really think that it's going to be worth it if you just keep dropping the price down. So it's really important to get that right. If someone really can't pay, something you can offer is pay a deposit. Just lock it in. You want to do everything you can to get them in the door, and that means they're more likely to come back and get it later. Sometimes they won't, but you still made some money. You could say, unlock these 3 pictures or this short video, and that can be your deposit. And then they get something now, you get something, and then they'll more than likely get it later. So here are the 3 biggest takeaways on objection handling. Don't use negativity to try to get people to buy things, whether that be guilt tripping or ignoring subs when they don't buy. They may buy it in the short term. They may spend money, but they're probably not going to become a long-term customer. People will avoid situations that make them feel bad. So let's try just be friendly, use positive reinforcement to try to get them to buy. Offer value before lowering cost. It works out better for you if you can just get them to pay the price you've set and give them more rather than give them the same and lower the price. You just get more money at the end of the day. I've talked a lot about sexting and how important it is for selling content. It is the most important skill in OnlyFans by far. And it also helps with objection handling. You can divert their attention wherever you want it. So if you want to learn more about that, I made an entire video breaking down the nitty-gritty of sexting. So you can see that right there. If you took value from this video, really appreciate it if you give it a like. I drop videos like this every week, so if they help you, consider subscribing. Enjoy the rest of your day.